Alright, so now we'll be talking about love, spirituality, but before we go on, we need to talk about why capitalism and all that relate, how capitalism and how the whole economy relates to love and spirituality. So Joseph will explain why the death of the success of capitalism is the death of capitalism itself, and why we are going to evolve into a new age of love and spirituality and peace and enlightenment.
So I started explaining before that we came from a system called feudalism, which it only produced through agriculture, so through lineages of people passing the wealth to their children, right? So only a few people could be rich, or whether you were the one stealing from them. That was all you could do. Then we moved into capitalism, which allows us to mass produce, make factories and produce foods and produce many things in a very big scale, right? So many more people can become rich. That's why we evolve into capitalism. Anybody can produce anything because, we want to be the one setting the factories. This is the new business of humanity. Now, the issue is already in the 19th century, many people realized that there was one problem with this, which is that if you can produce more, and you produce more, and you produce more with less and less cost, there might be a moment in which basically with a few portion of the population working, most everybody has enough to eat and to be happy in their lives, right? Actually, the first one to realize of this truth is someone called Karl Marx, the inventor of Marxism. And actually what he did was to study this situation. What would happen when, capitalism is so successful that it might kill itself. Because when, of course, it's important to say that, imagine if, just a small portion of the population is producing all the goods for everybody, how are the others going to buy from this if they don't have a job in the first place, right? So in this situation in which a few people produce for everybody, they cannot produce for everybody because then the rest cannot buy. So this is like a paradox, right? And Marx was the first one to,
If one person produces all the goods for everybody, all the people will have jobs to have the money to buy the goods from this one guy.
Exactly. So how do you make the money? Because if the people who don't have money cannot buy, the people who produce cannot sell. So when you produce so much that it's enough for everybody, in capitalism everybody becomes poor and misery. And are in misery, which is a paradox, right? Because at the beginning the idea was to produce more was better for everybody, and as we produce more and more, then happens just the opposite. Now here is when Karl Marx and many other thinkers after him said, okay, so when this happens there needs to be a shift, because if there is enough for everybody to have and we cannot distribute it because of the exchange of money, this means that what we need to change is the money and how we exchange this money.
Communism, where the community owns all the property.
Exactly.
The state owns everything.
Exactly. A state owns everything.
And
makes sense.
And state does not mean the politicians, State means the community owns everything. Everything belongs to the whole population.
Yes. And a more bottom-up ways to approach this is the following. Imagine that, there is, imagine that you are in a community, right? In a village, right? Then your economy will be based on what everybody in this community can do for the whole of the community, right? What you can give others, rather than whether you have the money or you don't have the money to buy from it, right? The point is that everybody has to feel a different role in life, right? And if there is enough products that money that makes no sense, then what we need to do is to make the money flow in a different way. So, we can still people still can have jobs and be remunerated even when there is enough for everybody. In other words, communism essentially is how to distribute money when there is enough for everyone, right? Now, some of you might be thinking, yeah, but there are communist countries. China is a communist country. Russia used to be a communist country. I mean, that's really not what was happening there. And the answer is exactly. That's the issue. That's most likely why it failed. Because all these countries decided to apply communism in a situation where they were not in an abundant situation.
No, not enough?
In an abundant situation.
Abundant?
Abundant.
Oh,
Sorry.
abundant.
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 So, imagine like China. to put an example, right? When they moved into communism, right? Most of the population were still agricultures. Remember that first were agricultures, then factories, and finally there is abundance for everybody. So China, when they moved to communism, they only had agriculture, mostly. For the majority of the population, it was this way. So, of course, then the communism they applied is not this we are talking about. What we are now talking about is more what might happen when AI, in 50 years, when AI actually and robotics achieve to do most of the things we humans can do, right? It's a completely different situation. Not talking about agriculture anymore. We will be talking about, that the machines can be your accountant, your consultant, and, are doing your salesperson and can do all these jobs altogether. And it is precisely in this situation where love, and it makes a big difference. Because in this situation when there is everything for everybody, you don't need to fight for your life.
Currency will be love in the future.
Yeah.
It won't be money, it will be love.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic about love, alright? So now we have explained capitalism, we have explained the shift from capitalism to loveism, right? to love, right? And now we'll be talking about what love would mean for everyone and yeah, everything.
Most electrifying entrepreneur.
The most electrifying entrepreneur.
Electrifying entrepreneur. The most electrifying entrepreneur.
He's the most electrifying entrepreneur.
The most electrifying entrepreneurs.
The most electrifying entrepreneur.
Most electrifying entrepreneur.
One of the most electrifying entrepreneurs that I've ever met.
The most electrifying entrepreneur.
The most electrifying entrepreneur.
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right now, cause I can't get much stronger. Man, I've been waiting all night now, that's how long I've been on ya.